Genesis has over 20 med spas doing 50 million a year. And here's the truth about why most med spa owners will never build real wealth. I know for a fact you're exhausted. You're seeing patients, you're managing staff, you're running ads, you're trying to figure out why your bank account doesn't actually look like your revenue number. And nobody around you has a good answer. Every business coach tells you to open more locations or post more on Instagram or buy more equipment. And they're all giving you the wrong advice because in the medical world, the game isn't what most people actually think it is. Look, I've sat in front of dozens of private equity groups. I've talked to hundreds of clinic owners on every stage across the country, and I can tell you that there are only a few real paths to building actual wealth in this industry, and almost nobody is on the right one. So I'm going to break down everything into categories. The stuff you need to run away from immediately, the movement that can get you to real income in your first or your second year, and the strategies that start compounding into serious money. Look, this is the long game that's going to create life-changing, sellable, generational wealth. And I'll tell you exactly who each one is for. Let's start with bucket one, the trash bucket. Income potential, 0 or negative. Difficulty, looks easy, gives you nothing. Time to make money. You'll waste months or years before you realize it was dead on arrival. And who is this best for? Nobody. Run. First one, buying more equipment to solve a revenue problem. This one kills me because I watch it happen constantly. Med spa owners that don't have enough patience, so they go and buy a $200,000 laser thinking it will bring people in. Well, guess what? It won't. Equipment doesn't create demand. Marketing creates demand. Patients create demand. The equipment, it just fulfills it. If your schedule isn't full with services you already offer, then you don't have an equipment problem. You have a marketing and retention problem. So stop putting it on the credit line. Next one, chasing every new treatment trend. Look, GLP-1s exploded. Everyone starts a weight loss clinic. Peptides get hot. Everyone starts selling peptides. Something gets on TikTok. Clinics scramble to add it. I've worked with dozens and dozens of clinic owners who jump from trend to trend to trend, spending money to add new services and never actually building depth in any single area. That's not a business, that's a hamster wheel. So pick your core services, do them better than anyone else in the market, and build systems around them. That's how you're going to win. Opening a second location before the first one is full. Look, I can't tell you how many times I've had this conversation, including to myself. Somebody has one clinic open 2 or 3 days a week. They're not even packed on those days. And then they're already talking about their second location because they think more boxes equals more money. I had 80 locations affiliated at one point with Genesis, 80. And I'll tell you right now, the bottom line was not where it should have been. More locations just meant more problems, more payroll, more chaos, more things to break, more people. I would have been significantly wealthier with 10 absolutely packed, perfectly run clinics than with 80 half-empty ones. So just remember that. And last in the trash bucket, running your clinic without knowing your real financial numbers. Look, I went to a conference a while back and I talked to a med spa owner who was about to dump a ton of money into some PRF services because the patients were asking for it. And I asked him one question, like, have you run the numbers on that? Do you know what it costs you in product and provider time and overhead and what it's actually going to return? And he just looked at me like I had two heads. He had no idea. That's not a business decision, that's gambling. And you will lose if any of your plans fall out of this bucket. Look, run them through the filter. 3 questions. 1, does this solve a problem my patients have already? Or am I just hoping it creates demand? 2, do I have the system to actually deliver this at a high level? 3, is it easier to lose money on this than to make money? If the answer is yes to any of those, move on immediately. Now let's talk about bucket 2, the moves that actually pay real money income potential. $5,000 to $10,000 a month, no problem. Difficulty levels low, meaning basic execution and learning how your business actually works. Time frame, 60 to 90 days to start seeing real results, and it's best for clinic owners who are in their first 1 to 3 years and need to build real fundamentals fast. Look, you don't need a new strategy for this bucket. You need basic execution of the things most clinics are completely ignoring. The goal here is just getting your first real dollars flowing consistently so you can build confidence and momentum and figure out how this game actually works. So first is Google. I don't care what your marketing agency told you. I don't care how many followers you have on Instagram. Google is where people go when they already have a problem and they're looking for a solution. They are searching for weight loss near me. They are searching for hormone therapy near me. That is a hot lead. They're not scrolling hoping to find you. They are actively hunting for you. Starting there, every dollar of marketing budget you have goes to Google first before anything else. Secondly, nail your close rate before you do anything else. Most clinics I talk to have no idea what their close rate is. They get leads, they call them, some of them book, some of them don't. Nobody's really tracking, but your close rate is everything. If 20 people come in and you close 5, you have a 25% close rate. If you can get that to 45%, you've effectively doubled your revenue without spending an extra dollar on marketing. Your close rate is the most underrated number in your business. Fix it. Third, referral partnerships that cost you nothing. Go find the businesses in your town that are already serving your exact patient. Women's health clinics, chiropractors, dentists, OBGYNs, personal trainers, even wedding places. Whoever is touching your ideal patient first, walk in, introduce yourself, tell them what you do, tell them what kinds of patients you're looking for and that are a perfect fit for you, and ask them if you could do the same for them. Look, there's no rev share, there's no complicated agreement. You send them patients, they send you patients. And again, have an agreement with each other, but it doesn't have to be complicated. I've seen this one strategy generate more consistent new patient volume than paid advertising in plenty of markets. And it costs you a Tuesday afternoon. Fourth, know your lifetime patient value. This one sounds boring and I don't care. Every smart decision you make in this business flows from this number. If your average patient stays with you 18 months and spends $3,500 over that period, then you know exactly how much you can afford to spend to acquire a patient. The big national players, Hims, Row, all of them, they pay $300 to $400 to acquire a single patient. And they do it on purpose because they know the math. They break even in month 1, 2, or even 3, and then months 3 through 18 are all profit. If you don't know your number, you're just guessing. Fifth, activate the patients you already have. Your existing patient list is the most underutilized asset in your entire business. If someone's on a weight loss program, do they know about your hormone therapy? If someone's doing hormones, do they know about sexual health services? If someone's been coming in for Botox for 2 years, have you ever had a conversation with them about what else you offer? It's the same audience, it's the same trust, it's just more revenue per patient. And it doesn't cost you anything to have the conversation. If this bucket speaks to you and you want to start implementing this right now, I have spent years putting all this together into a playbook for clinic owners. And if you want a copy, go ahead, message me on Instagram and I'll get it over to you. Now, if you've already got some of these basics dialed in and you want the strategies that start creating serious compounding income, that's bucket 3. Bucket 3 is income potential. This is $10,000 to $50,000 a month. The difficulty level is going to be medium, but you're no longer just doing tasks. You're solving revenue and growth problems at a real business level. Time to make real money. 3 to 12 months, depending on where you're starting from. And it's the best for clinic owners who have some sort of foundations in place already, but they want to stop trading their time for money and they want to start building something that actually scales without them. See, that's where I see most clinic owners get stuck. They're making money, maybe good money, but it's all dependent on them. They're the one driving the bus. They're the ones seeing the patients, they're the one managing the staff, they're the ones on the phones, they're the ones approving every decision. And if they take a vacation, the whole thing slows down or even shuts down. That's not a business, that's a job with more overhead. The way out is building systems and people around you so that the clinic can produce without you being the single point of failure. So first move, build your membership model before you build anything else. Hims didn't build a billion-dollar company selling one-time prescriptions. They built it on subscriptions. Opt-out recurring billing programs where patients are automatically enrolled in a monthly program and they have to actively cancel. That model creates predictable recurring revenue and predictable patient retention with predictable cash flow. You should have memberships literally for everything that you do. Weight loss memberships, hormone memberships, aesthetic memberships, sexual health memberships, wellness memberships. Every service you offer should have some sort of recurring program attached to it, because what we're doing does not cure anything. They're going to need it in the future. The clinic that has 300 people paying monthly is infinitely more valuable than the clinic that sees 300 people one time and never sees them again. Second move, hire a clinic director. This is the highest leverage hire you will ever make, and the most clinic owners wait too long to make it. Your clinic director is your localized general. They run the floor, they protect the culture, they handle the onboarding, they manage the schedule, they push the team when you're not there. Without one, you are personally the ceiling on your clinic's growth. Every decision has to go through you. Every problem ends up in your lap. With a great clinic director, you free up your time to work on the business instead of in it. And that's where real growth actually comes from. So third move, build your SOPs before you need them, not after something breaks. So not at 2 in the morning because someone screwed something up and you're furious about it. Before. Every service, every patient, every interaction, every staff role should have a documented standard, because when your process is documented, you can train to it, you can measure against it, you can replicate it when you open a second location. And when you go to sell the business someday, the buyers will pay a premium for a clinic that runs on systems, not on personalities. Fourth move, cross-sell vertically within your existing patient base. If someone's coming to you for hormones, offer weight loss. If they're doing weight loss, offer sexual health. If they're doing sexual health, offer aesthetics. It's the same patient, same marketing spend, same referral source, just higher revenue per person. You already did the hard work of getting them in the door. The incremental cost to add a second service to their plan is almost nothing. This is how you drive average revenue per patient from $500 to $2,000 to $5,000 without adding a single new patient. Fifth move, add telehealth before your competitors force you to. This one is not a trend. This is the direction of the entire industry. The services you offer that don't require a physical touch point, weight loss consultations, hormone follow-up, sexual health check-ins, all of that is going to go via telehealth. People want speed. Hims already announced that hormone therapy via telehealth is coming. The FDA removed the black box warning from female hormone therapy. Testosterone may even come off scheduled status entirely. Look, the walls are coming down and access to care is increasing significantly. The clinic owners who build telehealth into their model now will be able to reach patients across the entire state, fill schedule gaps without adding overhead, and expand their effective market radius from 10 miles to 50 miles to the entire state overnight. So don't wait until everyone else is doing it. Do it now. This bucket is where clinic owners start to feel like they actually built a real business. And once you hit real consistency here, once the recurring revenue is stacking, the team is running, the director is protecting the culture, you start thinking bigger. And that's where bucket 4 comes in. Bucket 4 is the hardest bucket. Income potential is $1 million+ per month. Honestly, millions. The difficulty level is super high. It requires systems, leadership, long-term thinking, and probably some capital or outside expertise. So the time to get here from zero is going to be probably 2 to 10 years, depending on your pace and your starting point. And it's best for the clinic owners who want to build something bigger than themselves. Not just a great income, an asset, something that someone else would pay a multiple to own. And the reason this is the hard bucket is not because the strategies are complicated. It's because most people aren't willing to stay the course long enough to get here. You're going to have to go through hard years. You're going to have to go through painful decisions. You're going to have to go through the highs and extreme lows of running this company. You're going to have to fire people you like. You're going to have to close locations that aren't working. You're going to have to go back into the struggle after you thought you were past it. I've done all of it multiple times, and every time I came out on the other side stronger. So first, understand EBITDA and build toward it obsessively. Your gross revenue is a vanity number. It means nothing. What matters to a buyer, to private equity firm, to anyone who would ever write a check to acquire your business is your EBITDA, your net profits, your earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization. Look, I've talked to dozens of PE groups. Every single one of them values a med spa business at a multiple of EBITDA, not gross revenue. If your clinic does $1 million in revenue and your net is zero, your clinic is worth exactly zero, period. So stop bragging about your top line, start building your bottom line. And here's the number you need to know. In the med spa industry, 20% of net profit margin is pretty healthy. Not 50, not 75, 20. The GLP boom gave everyone artificially inflated margins for a few years. Those days are over. The correction has happened and continues to happen. If you bought something for $100 and you're selling it for $200 after your provider cost and overhead, you're in a normal, healthy range. Understand that and plan accordingly. Second, build a business that doesn't need you to run it every single hour of every single day. If you're the main provider, your clinic's valuation is going to take a hit, not because you're not valuable, but because you're not replaceable at the same cost. When a buyer evaluates your clinic, the first thing they do is calculate the cost to replace you as a provider. If you pay yourself $150,000 a year and it would cost $100,000 to replace you, they subtract that from your EBITDA and value the business off the difference. So you'd end up being a $50,000 business instead of $150,000 if your salary is $100,000. So as soon as you can, step into the CEO role and out of the provider role. Third, stop adding locations and start adding profitability per location. Fewer, more profitable clinics will always be worth more than more mediocre clinics. When private equity evaluates you, they average your EBITDA across all the locations. If you have one clinic doing $1 million in net profit and one doing zero, they average that to $500,000 per location. Your unprofitable clinic literally pulls your valuation down. So every location you add that isn't profitable is costing you money, energy, and enterprise value. Only add locations when the one you have is packed and profitable. Fourth, own the verticals that are eating your margins. So the biggest players in this space, the big boys, Hims, Rowe, national groups, they own their own verticals, such as the pharmacy. They own their own marketing companies internally. They own their own supply chains. That's why they can charge less and still profit more. You're not going to compete with them on price. I'll tell you that right now. But you can strategically partner with a pharmacy, with a compounding supplier, with a marketing operation that gives you preferential pricing based off size. So every dollar you take out of your cost of goods goes straight to the bottom line, and the bottom line is the only line that matters. And the last one, document everything and build towards a sellable asset from day one. Your SOPs are your intellectual property. Your core values are your culture infrastructure. Your systems are your enterprise value. The clinic that has documented processes, a trained management team, a clinic director who could run the business without the owner, and recurring revenue through membership, that clinic demands a significantly higher multiple than the one that depends on one person's relationships and expertise. So build it like you're going to sell, even if you never do, because that's what makes it worth owning. The hard bucket is near and dear to me because it's a reflection of my life. People see Genesis today and they see success. They don't see the years where We grew broke where we had to lose everything. They don't see the 80 locations that we went down to 25, the 60 locations we had to cut. They don't see the leadership decisions that cost us millions. But those failures are literally what built the knowledge that now runs 20 profitable clinics and $50 million a year. You don't get the win without the struggle. You don't get the hockey stick without the long, flat stretch of hard work before it. So here's how you start. Tie your strongest clinical expertise to the services with the best margins. Build recurring memberships around the services, systematize everything, hire a clinic director, step out of the provider chair and into that CEO chair, know your EBITDA, build towards a number, and never stop improving the bottom line. And if any of this resonated, if you're an owner who wants to stop building a job and start building an asset, click the link in the description and I'll send you the playbook I've been using across all my locations. It's free and it's the thing I wish someone had handed me at the beginning. I'll see you on the inside.